All right. Welcome, folks. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu she'akol everybody.
Amen.
L'tovach, Shavua Tov, a good week. We start the week well by coming together to learn. So we're understanding the core essence of the soul in two different dimensions. One, during difficult times, right? That brings out crushing circumstance, getting crushed. And that brings out not just greater light, but the core essence, the source of light, ma'or. It brings out the best in us. It brings out the well. Let's so we're going to connect it with the words in the verse. That's where we started with. Ata titzav has been Israel, and you, Moshe, God says to Moshe, you shall connect the Jewish people, and they will bring to you pure olive oil crushed. That's crushed to the ma'or, to the luminary, right? That's what the verse says. Meaning that the Jewish people will add something to Moshe. He's bringing them the connection, so as we explain. So, well, actually, I'll explain now in the verse. So, the Jewish people, through their divine service, they add a revelation of light to the level of Moshe. They add something to him. So what does this mean in divine service? So Moshe, he connects the Jewish people. Why? Because that's the role of the faithful servant, of the faithful shepherd, that he feeds faith. He feeds faith to his flock, to the people. And that faith, in addition that it should be from the revealed elements of the soul, meaning, as we've explained, that our soul, there's different levels of the soul, different components to the soul. There's a soul from within us, but there's the connection to the soul that's beyond us. That connection we have to the soul that's beyond us, which we don't really experience it, but it doesn't mean it's not there. It's not a reality. That part of the soul that's beyond us is experiencing, seeing godliness. Right? Being it's in a spiritual realm, in that spiritual realm, it's seeing godliness. So in addition to that, also what the Moses of the generation is doing, right, is giving us also access to the core of our soul, which is greater than what the soul sees, because as we've explained, when you see something, there's a separation between you and what you see. It's not you. But Moshe Rabbeinu gives us access that godliness is me. But we mean access to it, meaning that that we should be aware, know it, right? Um, excuse me, that it should become our reality, godliness. And others, naturally, we would, our reality is going to be the human condition. And therefore, our five senses is what's going to lead us. Our mind's going to lead us. But here, no, that the core essence of my being is godliness. Whoa. And that I can live that way. That's a tall order. Well, that's what the Moses of the generation provides for us. Um, that the the core of me. Now, how can he provide that for us? Um, it's because from the core essence of the soul, all the Jewish people are one. Now, the Moses of the generation, he's living godliness. He's the embodiment of that godliness in every aspect of the Moshe Rabbeinu, the Moses of the generation, is, being that's his soul is bound up, as all Jewish souls are bound up together as one. Therefore, he can provide that for us. Okay. And what do we provide? That's what Moses provides for us. What do we provide? So through our service, after again, the Moses of the generation provides with us the tools, the capability, the awareness. And it's through his teachings, but not just through his teachings, just, by dollars that I bet, giving you on Sunday dollars, today's Sunday, right? Give dollars and give blessings and look at the person and bless the person that touched a core, that touched the core of the person. It's not just by his teachings, but it's by his presence. Now, okay, so that's what he provides. What do we give then? What do we provide? That experience that is like understand when you're before truly great people, holy people. Like when you're before, back in the day, not today, but like the Tsar of Russia, right? You had trepidation, but you had trepidation not because the person was holy. You had trepidation because of the power that person yielded. And you could just say, off with your head. And it was off with your head, right? Holy people, you have trepidation, but not because of the power that they yield, even though they have power, just because of the holiness that they yield and the embodiment of the holiness that they are. You stand before that, it's like great trepidation. Sometimes you couldn't utter a word out of awe, not fear of like, oh, what's this person going to do to me? If I don't act properly. I'm sure we've had such teachers, right? That we had fear from the teacher because of what they might do to me. Sometimes physically, sometimes it was just verbally. It wasn't just verbally. That was, we had fear of that. I'm talking about that. I'm not talking about the power that someone has. Unfortunately, that's probably the only experience we had of the fear of a abusive teacher, or it could have been an abusive parent, right? So that's kind of fear that we have. But we're talking about now someone who's a holy person, who you have a fear and trepidation because they're seeing right through you. They're not seeing right through you and now making you less than, making you, oh, you're unworthy. No, they're building you from the core, just in their presence. Now, that's not just in their presence, but that's in their teachings. You know, when they would teach, like the Rebbe's Fabringens, or when the Rebbe would talk, it, what was he, when he talked, he wasn't he wasn't giving information. He wasn't teaching like teachers teach, you know, or therapist. A therapist is giving you a wonderful idea. Like, wow, you know what? That's really right. But that's talking, talks to your heart, talks to your mind. Therapist gives you a wonderful insight into you, wonderful insight to your relationships, wonderful insights to why you are succeeding here and failing over there. And that's great. Therapist, coach, whatever it might be. That's amazing. It's not at all what we're talking about over here. That doesn't touch your core. Not at all. It's touching your inner world. A Rebbe is touching your core. He's touching the essence of your soul. I know I'm probably just saying things to you and you're just not getting it because you haven't had experience. On a certain level, on a certain level, I'm doing that. Why? Not because I'm a Rebbe. Because I'm teaching the Rebbe's teachings. So on a certain level, I'm not really, right? Because I'm not Moses. The Rebbe is. Right? But on a certain level. Why? Because what are these teachings? Teachings of faith, meaning they're touching core. They're touching us deeply. Now, so that's what the Rebbe is doing. I'm just the mouthpiece to this. That's all. So what are we doing then? Is that the fact that our Rebbe, Moshe Rabbeinu, is giving us the fodder, the food, right, of faith, that he's giving us faith in his being, in his teachings, and he's giving that to us, touching the core of me. Now, what we give back and what we add to this is that we internalize it and make it part of my inner world of my intelligence and my emotions, my feelings. That it should align with the core essence of me. Through this, we add something. And this is what it means in the verse that the Jewish people, they take the olive oil and bring it to Moshe. We're adding something to Moses, the teacher, to Moses, the faithful shepherd, who's feeding faith, nourishing us with faith. Faith meaning here that the teachings and whatever that godliness is me. Godliness is me. That's what we're talking about. And now what we have to do is internalize that into our powers of our soul, the Chabad, Chachma Bina V'das, our intelligence, to get it, that it makes sense to me, that in fact it is so. And then therefore I can then, from having that awareness and that it sits with me intellectually, the idea, the development of the idea, the connection to that idea. Godliness is me, and godliness is everything. Now, and therefore, I'm aware of it, and I bring it into my emotions. That's something only we could do. Moses can't do that. The Rebbe can't do that for me. He can't make me understand. He can't make me feel. But he can touch the core of me, where that faith is there. But what faith? I'm not talking faith that there's a God. And you don't need faith for that. Faith meaning that there's nothing else but godliness. What's with the evil people? All right. What's with about, all the evil that's done? Not denying that there's not that. But that's not your reality. That's not true reality. That's, that's God giving evil people the capacity to raise. Yeah, it's like ego. Ego is just hot air, full of air that the person is full of themselves rather than full of godliness, which is the true reality. So you're full of yourself rather than full of godliness. So then, yeah, you'll do evil. You'll think the wrong thing based on your animal soul because that's what the ego is going to do. You're going to say the nasty thing, right? You're going to do the evil act. All right. That's true. It's reality. There is that, but that's not true reality. Because that means that person hasn't been touched in their core. Because if they're touched in their core, we're created, every human being's created in the image of God. So you have the image of God in you. And that's what needs to be reflected. And that's what we need to live with. Moses gives us that opportunity that we can touch that. But we have to make it real for us in our inner world, which inner world are powers of the soul, which is our intelligence, our emotions. That can be done for this. Right? So now, like here, the Rebbe is teaching us. Again, I'm the mouthpiece. The Rebbe's teachings. You probably all get a sense that you've been touched deeply to a core that who and what are godliness. Now, to make that real, you're going to have to pray with that awareness. You're going to have to live your day internalizing it, being aware of it, looking for the godliness in every situation, and living that intellectually and emotionally. That's what we give. We make then, we add something, because then We reveal our true core essence of the soul, the way it is rooted in the essence of God. Wow. Is that something or is that something? Wow. You got that, folks? Yeah. All right. We'll see you shortly. Rashi.